Our Chemicals, providing safety and cleaning supplies for brewing, distilling, and winemaking at 5starchemicals.com.
Doctor, look!
Stand aside, nurse. I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Stand clear.
All right, everyone, welcome back to another fine episode of Dr. Homebrew, the only show that doesn't talk about wiener jokes or poopy jokes, which is very surprising considering who's hosting it.
You just did.
I need to work on my intros. A year and a half later, and I still don't know what to say right now. Whatever. We have a good time.
We do. And you said something.
I did
You
say
said something.
And that's all that matters, really.
No dead air time.
No dead air. You can't have dead air. Well, I don't know.
You can't.
Anyway, I am your host, Jason J.P. Petros, of course, and with me, as always, are Brian and Lee, two of the most handsome master BJCP judges you will ever meet within a 50-mile radius of me at any one given time. Until
he scares most of them away.
Well, that's true. Until NHC, but also until Nate Smith gets his. Is he master? Or is he national? He's national.
He's national.
What a loser.
He is definitely more handsome than we are, though.
I think so. He's younger than you. I think so.
He's got
by
that youthful
default,
glow.
He's more attractive.
Yep.
Isn't that how it works?
Yeah.
The younger
like
are the more attractive.
Yeah.
Right,
well,
Bev?
not always.
He has
But that's another story.
prettier hair, you know.
And more hair than both of us put together.
Who's more attractive?
Just younger people in general.
Than you guys?
Yeah, than anybody. Than older people. I take it you weren't listening.
Isn't
to
Bevo younger than all of us?
I first of all, yes. And second of all, I was listening to you, but I still don't really understand the question.
Neither do I.
Skip
Okay.
it.
You don't need context.
No. Just
Then the answer will be yes.
Perfect.
Okay.
When in doubt, just agree with everything JP says.
Right. That's the only reason I do the show. I hate doing radio, but I just want people to agree with me.
Forget libertarian free will.
I started listening to this podcast. It's called Very Bad Wizards, and it's kind of terrible, but
Well, the name sounds awesome.
it's pretty cool. I think it's great, but they're just they're not psychologists. They're philosophy people, like they're philosophy professors. But they're kind of fun. They have kind of a off-centered sense of humor and whatever.
I thought they were really wizards. Over it.
Are you for real?
So you're a connoisseur of obscure podcasts, JP?
I don't know. I've been looking for something to watch anyway. So they did a couple shows on like free will and is anything we do actually, of ourselves and our own. And they keep saying the term libertarian free will, and I've just been too lazy to Google it. I don't know what it means, but I listened to the stupid show like an idiot. I was like, I think I'm making myself smarter right now.
It was written in the stars that you would not look that up, JP.
There you go. No free will.
There's no free will, apparently. I just listen to podcasts because they tell me to.
But you can send in whatever beer you like.
I heard of this great obscure
to them or
podcast
to us.
called
Well,
Dr.
to them.
Homebrew.
We're actually doing great.
Oh.
We're like the fourth highly rated show on the Brewing Network out of 4 shows. 5 shows now.
Cool.
Yeah.
How are we doing compared to like NPR podcasts?
They actually get paid.
Do we like get up above some of the lower rated ones of theirs?
Yeah, so it's Serial and then us.
Yes.
It's just it's like right 1 and 2.
Cereal is great, man.
It's a dead heat. It is pretty
My
cool.
wife is addicted to that. There's also another one, what is it? Invisibilia. That one's cool, too.
Really? I'm starting to... after like 10 years of not listening to podcasts, I feel like I should start. I feel like it's my duty.
Yeah, train yourself.
Since I have like 8 of them or whatever.
Some of them don't know how to talk either, JP.
They don't talk good at all.
No talking good.
But,
okay.
So the whole time listening to Serial, I thought this should be a TV show. Why are you wasting time putting a podcast together? Get a friggin' television crew out there. And then now HBO has this show called The Jinx, which I guess is kind of like Serial, but visual, and that's supposedly the next big thing for TV and documentaries is true crime.
So where's the television crew?
I don't have any.
Dude, get on it.
You can use your imagination, just like
Right,
you
put us on TV.
You can imagine us being handsome, actually, in real life.
Yeah, if you can imagine us being handsome, you can put us on TV.
Oh man, JP keeps
You're
telling
on
how,
live stream.
You can shoot for the moon.
how good looking these guys are.
Right.
They think of us as like
real
golden
TV.
gods.
Yeah.
Like where we get paid and everything.
I think Lee.
I did this for 7.5 years before I ever saw a dime.
And it's about time you did, right?
You got a tattoo out of it, so I don't know why you're complaining.
Shut up.
Where?
Anyway, we're Dr. Homebrew, and what we do is we are an interactive BGCP score sheet. You send us beer, email me at jp@thebrewingnetwork.com, and I will eventually contact you once I wake up from my daily nap. And then you will send us beer, and then we judge it. And by we, I mean Brian and Lee, because I just sit here and sweat profusely. And then we'll get you on the air, and you talk to us. I don't know. We taste your beer, and you ask us questions, and then you win stuff. You get stuff. So our fine sponsor, 5 Star, whom you can go to 5starchemicals.com and check out. You can go check out all the ins and outs of PBW, Star Sand, Sandy Clean, all this kind of cool stuff for you to clean and then sanitize your home brewing equipment with. Because you can't do both at the same time. You know that by now. But anyway, the lovely folks at 5 Star send you a nice little gift pack for being on. We have a couple other giveaways. Our other fine sponsor, Grog Tag, of whom are represented in the studio today.
In the house.
Hi, fellas.
How's it going? Hey, JP.
Steve's in another time zone right now. Apparently.
I'm a little nervous.
You look great. You look relaxed. I don't know how you're nervous. You're like, you got one elbow, you got the lean on. You're doing great.
Yeah, I'm faking it good.
You don't have a beer in front of you. Maybe that's the problem.
I had one outside, and I'm nervous about this tasting.
So Steve was kind enough to supply us with his beer. Now, Steve is a pseudo. Would you qualify yourself as a beginning home brewer? Still, very much so.
Sorry,
Intermediate.
Definitely a beginning home brewer.
Okay, but bless his heart, he's brewing a lot, and so you have a reoccurring issue. Bless your
Yeah,
heart,
well,
Steve.
I'm the one who came up with Grog Tag's tagline. At least your beer will look good.
That is
Right.
true.
Yeah.
It's very true.
There's a reason for that.
He's lived it for 4 years, and now the last 6 months he's really living it because he's brewing.
I did set a resolution in January. I think I was brewing one batch, maybe 2 batches a week until end of February, and then I kind of fell out of it. So I got really into it for a while. Had a couple of beers that came out pretty good, and then this happened.
And so, in talks with you over the months, you say you have some flavor that kind of carries over for your beers, right?
Well, yeah, in particular, the last 3 batches, to me, they all taste like what you guys are going to taste here. And I've been like hunting all the off flavors, and I don't think it's a contaminant. I mean, you've tasted it before.
I have tasted it before. The most recent sample was flat, so it's kind of hard to really judge. But I didn't find anything super
Which shocked me.
Weird. Yeah, it's because you're real hard on your own beer, which I think all of us are.
Yeah, that might.
It's kind of natural. But I didn't really. I was like, what the hell is he talking about?
Okay, well,
But I mean,
we got
tasted
the
like
judges here. We'll be the real judges of that. Right?
I mean, it tasted like Dr. Pepper, but because didn't you have it like a soda bottle or something like that?
No, it had some lemon essence in it from the.
That might have counteracted the weird schmeg that you usually have in your beers. And
They made lemonade
Sorry.
jug.
we'll
I
find
can use
out.
this.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is getting worse and worse.
It's fine. You're doing great, Steve. Well, anyway, the lovely Grog Tag folks give us a price to give out, a $40 gift certificate. So we'll try to give that away to someone in the chat, unless you want to order some tags for your beer, Steve.
Yeah, well, it'll be called "I'm Sorry." It'll be up. You can customize it in a week or 2.
Hello, my name is. I'm sorry.
That's right.
It'll be Dear Brian and Lee. I'm sorry. So very sorry.
That's
7% ABV.
Yeah, thanks for nothing.
But you can actually drive after drinking this, because when you drink it, you'll just puke it back up. It'll be fine.
Maybe that's the sad part, because usually if my brews, my beers, they turn out marginal, I at least drink them until I get a buzz. I don't think I've even drank this one enough to get a buzz.
What I used to tell people at More Beer is, you have a beer that you're not super proud of, so you drink all the good stuff first. Drink all the good shit. You have some stouts, and then try my pale ale that is, tastes like green apple, but you won't know.
Get them drunk first.
Yeah.
Exactly. Erase your palate.
Yeah, at parties, you get the good wine, then you pull out the $2 chuck and you pour it in the carafe, and you go, look, it's real nice.
I guess maybe the label is punishment, because when you come over to my house, you got to drink some of this.
You
get a lot of visitors?
Yeah, well,
they've taped it off.
My poor brother.
Oh, your brother. Yeah. I met him, right? Oh, we've shared a moment or two.
Hey, he
talking about your beer.
Turns out he loves crappy beer.
Well, that's good.
You've done a great job of playing this down, Steve.
Yeah, no expectations
I'm actively trying to lower expectations.
Wait till we tell you we scored this like a 50-point beer.
Yeah. You guys want to talk to you after the show about getting your recipe.
Is that good?
Yeah. Steve, out of 200.
50's pretty good.
That would be perfect, yes.
Pretty good.
So relax a little bit. So we're going to talk about Steve's beer, and then we're going to do a commercial calibration, which I don't think we've done in a few months.
It's been a while, yeah.
Something like
it's been a
that.
while. But it's not a calibration that we've done before, right? What are we doing?
Well, it never is.
This is going to be
that's
called
true.
the Standard American Lager Smackdown.
I wish I had
Where's our echo?
intense
Yeah.
music.
Smackdown.
Good.
Down.
I like that.
So what is the Smackdown? Are we going to wrestle the beers out of each other's hands?
We've decided to taste Category 1B beer, mainly because JP just tasked me with picking up a commercial calibration beer at the last minute.
It's up to you guys.
And I decided to mess with him a little bit. And I said, yeah, I'll pick up some Bud Light on the way. He said, well, Bud Light, are you really going to do that? I'm like, well. And then he said, how about maybe if you're going to go that direction, go get some Coors Banquet beer or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, why not get the big three? Bud, Miller, Coors.
Nice.
All the standard, the classic examples of Category 2B Standard American Lager.
Well,
taste them blind
and JP,
see where the
you're gonna
chips
join
fall.
us.
Yes, I am going to join them. I think these handsome guys
They
will
can
join
join
us
us,
too.
too.
I'm in.
You guys,
Yeah, let's do it.
I'll get the funnel and the hose, and we'll party. And your point was that it's getting warmer.
We've got 40s there.
Whatever. So
In some parts of the country, yeah.
Yeah, we were going to do a blue moon, and we thought, well, why not?
Save that for a
Getting
blue
towards
moon.
summer, a lot of people lean towards these beers, and hey, they're refreshing, so why not?
Well, that'll be good because Budweiser have released another commercial about their beer and how people really don't know a Budweiser when they taste it. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's like a secret tasting in a Brooklyn bar, which I don't know why Brooklyn.
Why
but,
not?
Why not? I guess
Indie cred.
It's cheaper to
Right.
film. And
Free hipsters.
yeah, and it's pretty much. But so is Berkeley. It's pretty much people go in and they go, oh, what am I tasting? Well, you're tasting a 100-year-old recipe aged in beechwood, and it's very crisp and clean. And just talk like using craft beer, lingo. And then they go, would you believe it's Budweiser? And these people freak the hell out. And my point was, I don't think people have even really tried a Budweiser. Like I don't remember the last time I had a traditional Budweiser, and most people under 30 probably haven't.
We're about to correct that deficiency in you.
Bev, have you had a Budweiser? You probably have.
I had a Bud Light Lime a couple weeks ago.
I know
Was it a Lime-A-Rita?
You were there.
Was it a Lime-A-Rita?
No, it was just a Bud Light Lime.
You bought it for her, remember?
Bought her an 18-pack for $4.
I heard she had some Miller High Life back in college or something. That was kind of an experience she was going to tell us about.
Oh, it was so gross. Yeah, that's a fun story.
Okay, good.
I was in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And doing what young people do in Las Vegas, I was slightly
Carousing.
intoxicated.
Right.
Just slightly. And so my friends and I wandered around the strip and collected the nudie cards. The hooker cards, basically, that they give out.
I'm sorry,
to
the
strippers.
escort service cards?
Yeah.
Okay.
That. Anyway, we collected about 300 or 400 of them and then took them back to our hotel and turned those cards into a game and then turned that game into a drinking game. And all we had was High Life. And one of the cards, I just remember, like, you pulled so-and-so with the nipple piercing. You had to pound the High Life.
Okay.
It resulted in vomit.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Most drinking stories with you do that, I feel.
That's true, but...
Or pregnancy. One of the two.
Also a true story.
Or at the same time.
But, yes.
So let me get
Miller
this
High
straight.
Life is quite disgusting.
You flew to Las Vegas only to get holed up in your room playing drinking games.
I was there for a wedding. I didn't go there by choice.
With hooker cards, yeah.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to go to a club.
You don't want to be clubbing?
That would have been way more fun.
You didn't end up calling all the
That would've
numbers and
been
inviting
crazy.
them to
Crazy.
the wedding?
That would have been great. No, I was there with my in-laws.
You should have said the whole of the wedding.
And
Mercedes? Yeah, look, check this out. head over to this church. Let's start
and pick up all the hooker cards when you head over here.
Actually, we still have them. It's a game that
that's
sometimes
awesome.
makes a reappearance at our house.
You have them laminated. It's like, okay. Ooh, you got Marie. Oh, wow.
I think we should do that on the trip
Everybody
up
else
the road.
gets to drink 2 shots.
I will dig them out of the game closet.
Someone will bring Cards Against Humanity. Bev will bring hooker drinking game.
Be like-
Slam a hooker or whatever it's called.
No, memory.
Hooker roulette.
It is memory. Okay, where's
Memory.
No.
Or Go Fish. Do you have
That
the...
was exactly what it was. It was.
Dude,
it was.
see,
Hooker
I've
card
played
Go
this
Fish.
before.
Cool.
We could be friends.
In Vegas with Miller High Life?
Tom, is that Tom?
Actually, it was-
Do you still play this with Miller High Life?
I was there, but we both don't remember.
Great, yeah. There was a lot of high life going on.
Wait, is that a nipple piercing under your shirt there?
This didn't have anything to do with
That
Bevo's
was the
pregnancy, did
ultimate
it?
losing.
Yes.
No, that was in a different state.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that was in a very different state. Hawaii. Much more pleasant than Las Vegas.
But also just as drunk.
Yeah, equal amount of nipple piercings, I feel. Anyway, let's start drinking Steve's beer. Let's do
Okay.
that, or should we take a break first?
What do we do? We thanked our sponsors. We talked
Thank our
about
sponsors.
hookers.
We're going to take a
Time
break,
for a break.
real fast.
That's sweaty
So
work.
we can pour Steve's beer, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about Steve's beer. You excited about this, buddy?
As long as you guys can help me.
That's what we're all about.
I need some help. I need some advice.
Yeah, for sure. Ask Dr. Homebrew. That's our.
Right.
That's what we're here.
That's right.
Anyway,
JP will answer.
that's right. I'll answer for you. Don't worry about it. It's Dr. Homebrew, everyone. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Hello, fellow BNers. This is Sully from the 21st Amendment Brewery located in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park. Before Nico and I opened the 21A and before I was a professional brewer, I homebrewed on my small 4-burner apartment stove in a back house in Santa Monica, California, making my extract brews before graduating to the daunting idea of all-grain brewing. Homebrew books and information was hard to come by back then. The internet hadn't been invented yet, along with other things we take for granted today, like electricity and potable water. One thing I wish I had back then when I was learning was a radio show that could teach me the ins and outs of brewing and answer questions that I had about homebrewing, a resource for making great craft beer. The 21st Amendment Brewery is excited to be a proud sponsor of Dr. Homebrew, a great show that teaches you what you need to know about making incredible beer. Good stuff. Listen up, you might learn something. I certainly did. And thanks for your support. Tasty Crack Games.
High Gravity Homebrewing Supplies wants you to keep it simple. Brewing should be fun. And with High Gravity's amazing electric brewing systems, it is. High Gravity keeps their brewing systems simple, on purpose. More efficient than gas, customizable, and with your choice of 1, 2, or 3 vessels, High Gravity's electric brewing systems will completely change the way you brew beer, formulate recipes, and improve your beer's consistency. Dave at High Gravity can customize your system to fit your needs. High Gravity invites you to visit their Build Your Own Brewery page and see how easy it can be to brew electric. And High Gravity offers $7.99 flat rate shipping on most of their products. www.highgravitybrew.com. High Gravity. Keep it electric. Keep it simple. Visit highgravitybrew.com. Are you a member of the American Homebrewers Association? Well, you should be. Members of the AHA can focus on brewing beer, and the AHA takes care of the rest. The American Homebrewers Association advocates on behalf of homebrewers like you to legalize the hobby in all 50 states and make sure that beer laws make sense. Plus, there are many great benefits that come with your AHA membership, like AHA member deals that give you awesome deals at bars, restaurants, breweries, and more. Zymergy Magazine and eZymergy for tons of articles, how-tos, easy-to-follow recipes, and news about the hobby you love, and access to the members-only content on homebrewersassociation.org. But the AHA can't do it without your support. Join today so the American Homebrewers Association can keep fighting for your homebrewing rights. Visit homebrewersassociation.org or join now from the homepage of the Brewing Network website. Relax. Don't worry. It's the American Homebrewers Association. Now, back to the examination.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We're pouring Steve's beer, and we're trying to get him out of a corner. He's like, we're taking his belt and we're taking his shoelaces. He's going to end this thing, man.
Come back, Steve! Get his car keys, somebody.
He's in a K-hole.
Like I said, it's actually not as bad as I remember it. So that's good.
It's not bad.
Yeah, as I remember.
Time heals all wounds. Yes.
Yeah.
And all contaminations. All right, Lee. Why don't you kick it? Well, actually, first, Steve, how long have you been homebrewing?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I brewed a few batches over the last couple of years, but really since October of last year, heavily.
Okay. And you just kind of got the bug again. You realized I need to start brewing, or what happened?
Usually when I've brewed before, it's been with Todd, just like buddy brewing where, maybe I'd bring my kit with me and brew, but really Todd would be helping me, telling me what to do.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So
pushing you around.
It wasn't until October of this year I said, you know what, I love brew. I love drinking brew. I've been going to the NHC. Love the labels. I really enjoy brew. It turns out I really, really enjoy brewing. I really do like doing it.
Yeah.
I've got a long ways to go.
Okay, awesome. And we are drinking a pale ale that you have made. When did you make this?
Let's see. So I brewed it in late December. No, early December. I don't have my sheet. I think it went into primary on like December 15th or something like that.
Okay.
And then I took it out mid-January, I think.
Extract, all grain.
Extract brewing.
Okay, extract brewing. Stovetop, that kind of thing.
Well, I've got a 10-gallon kettle. I do 5-gallon batches in my backyard with just a burner. Typical turkey fryer system. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Lee, let's do it.
All right. Get the pipes cleared. Some beer lodged in there. So, aroma, medium-high caramel malt, medium-low piney hop notes, hop lower than the malt. Kind of a medium to maybe slightly higher in the second bottle, red berry kind of ester. Wasn't picking up any DMS diacetyl in the nose originally, maybe getting some diacetyl now that it's warming up a bit. The aroma came across very much like an amber ale, very caramel forward as opposed to a balance of malt and hop or hop forward. So to me, this really seems more like an amber ale, and that is sort of repeated in the color. It's a pretty dark brown. Well, not dark brown. It's a pretty dark amber beer. It's sort of a copper brown color. Has some haze to it. Not bad, but it's not 100% clear. Head is off-white, mostly fine bubbles, but fades almost immediately to a low bead. So there's no head on it pretty quickly after pouring. Again, the color is much more reminiscent of an amber. I would say an American amber ale. It's pretty dark. This is really be pushing it for a pale ale. Flavor, medium piney hop flavor, slightly higher intensity than a caramel malt flavor that comes across next. Again, fairly good amount of these red berry, red fruit kind of esters. Has a sweet start, leaves a slightly sweet finish behind it with growing piney citrusy hop flavor as it fades on the palate. Again, much more an amber ale in style. It's got more caramel. Well, it's more hop in the flavor, but it's very caramel forward. That's really the main malt character here, and it's coming across like an amber ale again. I did pick up a little bit maybe of some alcohol heat and little hotness in this beer on the flavor. Not so much the first time when we were judging it earlier, but when we poured it now, it's coming across that way. A little warm, very fruit forward as well. Medium high body and carbonation, medium creaminess, slight alcoholic heat, as I said. It's not astringent at all. A little bit drying, maybe from hops. Not really sure, but it's a bit rich in the body and the mouthfeel for a pale ale. Again, it's more like a caramelly amber ale, which basically is my conclusion on this beer. It's a very caramel-forward version of an American pale ale. I would say really this should be classified as an American amber ale. It's got a lot of caramel malt character to it, more than the hops. The hops it comes through more in the flavor, and it's a good balance. But it's still, I think, more in if you wanted to enter a competition, you do better off with putting this in as an amber ale.
Well, it's the second pale ale I brewed, and that's why I had JP taste it earlier. Mm-hmm. That's had that amber ale taste to it. So I'm like, what am I doing? Because I'm basically doing clone brews. Mm-hmm. So something is happening, and
right.
I did because it's a similar flavor, and I'm like, okay, it'd be one thing if it just came out that way, but I've repeated it twice.
Are they? You're not building the recipe. You're getting a kit, or
the only thing I'm doing differently is I like later hop additions in the beers. Yeah. So I've been pushing the times back, but that's about it.
But you didn't. Is it your recipe? Is what I'm saying, or
no? I'm getting a kit. I'm following the recipe.
Okay.
I can't. I don't have a sheet with me. On this one, I'm sure that I probably just pushed some of the later additions back even further. But that's probably about it.
Okay. Back towards the end of the boil.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want to make this more like a pale ale, there's two things I would say you could do. One is a matter of balance, and it might address what you just said. So if you're going to push the hop additions to later in the boil, make sure you're adding enough to keep the bittering up. So it's a bitter malt balance you have to strike, mm-hmm. and this is a little on the sweet side for American Pale. The other is throttle back the amount of crystal malt that's going in there, because it tastes very caramelly. Like there's a lot of, I don't know how much crystal malt you put in here. Do you remember?
I don't.
Yeah. I thought you had your recipe with you.
I don't know where it is. I thought I gave
it to you. No.
Do you have it, JP?
No, I don't have it. Oh, I think I have it right here.
Wait, yeah.
No,
it's inscribed on that fingernail, huh?
I believe that this is actually Sierra Nevada Pale Ale clone.
Mm-hmm.
So
it would taste. It tastes like it's trying to be, because I think Sierra Nevada is a little caramely, but
yeah, it is a little on the caramelly side, at least by modern standards. But this is probably past that. So I would throttle back the crystal malt additions here, just to bring it more sort of into the pale ale kind of territory. Other than that, I thought it was a little warm in the ferment. So you might try either reducing your fermentation temperature, your pitch temperature, or making sure you've got a nice, healthy, active yeast culture going when you pitch it.
So on this...
But I'm actually kind of jumping on Brian's time here. We should let him go, too.
No. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, on this particular one, so I have a controlled temperature fermentation. It's set to 62 or 63, right? It is in my garage, but it's in a box freezer, so I'm getting fairly good fermentation temps, fairly low fermentation temps. But on this one, I actually pitched, because I had talked to JP, I pitched 2 vials of yeast and didn't do a starter.
Into 5 gallons?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it took off okay, or?
Oh yeah. I actually have never had trouble starting.
Yeah.
But
do you know how high the temperature went?
I don't have an internal temp nor an external sticker, so
just leave it set at that 62, and whatever it heats up to is what it heats up to.
Did you oxygenate the beer when you started?
I did. There was one time, and I don't remember, that the oxygen ran out partway through, so that might have been this one.
Yeah, well, I mean, for a pale ale, you could probably just shake air into it, and you'd be fine. Okay. You don't need that much, but you definitely don't want cooled wort right out of the boiling kettle. That'll be pretty low oxygen. Yeast nutrients. This is an all malt. That should be pretty good on that front. I don't know. Healthy yeast, active culture, not too warm. Keep the oxygen up. Make sure you got plenty of nutrients. Make sure you got the right strain of yeast. I would bet you use 001 if you're doing a CR clone. Yeah, so that should be pretty appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the obvious things for the ferment.
And most of the times I have been adding yeast nutrient, but I have not been terribly consistent with that.
Right. Well, if you missed it, that might have hurt it a bit.
I never do it. I mean, and
you're the one that told me to do it.
Yeah, but I give better advice than I follow.
You told me you do it every time.
Beer.
I would never say that. I would never be so bold.
You absolutely did.
Well, maybe I used to. Without saying where you got it from, because it doesn't matter. But I mean, could it be just a recipe issue? I mean, if he's making the same kit over and over and over again, and he gets the same flavors and he doesn't like.
Well, that's actually one thing I haven't been doing, which you've advised me to do, is to stick to one kit till I get it fine.
See, you don't even follow my advice.
But I did the nutrients. What do you want? So I'm a graphic designer. The same thing over and over. I need a little randomness. So I've been sticking to IPAs and stuff, but I tend to wander around in that area.
Yeah.
So Brian, what did you have to add here?
Well, I agree with a lot of what Lee said there. It does have in the aroma kind of a medium high piney and citrusy, a little bit of grapefruit kind of hop character up front, supported by a medium high caramel and a little toast in there. It does have pretty high fruity esters, as Lee noted. I wasn't sure about diacetyl. At first, I didn't think I got any, and in the second sample, and then as the first one sat a little bit longer, I thought I got a little light kind of butterscotchy note, like with that caramel kind of combining with maybe a little bit of diacetyl in there. But it's very faint, just with everything else that's going on here, it's kind of a sub-element. Appearance-wise, it was fairly clear, medium coppered color beer with a low off-white head that faded to a little collar, ringing the glass, pretty fine bubbles. But yeah, faded pretty quick. Flavor-wise, big and bold hop character. I thought it was a little too high on the hop character, but then also, with the malt that was there, there's just a lot going on, and it is very kind of amber ale-like. The hop choices were kind of gnarly and funky. I thought had a little bit of a little kind of ammonia-like and grapefruit and tropical kind of characters to it. It wasn't just the straight citrusy that you get in that, from a lot of Cascade hops in the Sierra Nevada. Maybe that's all, that you used. But you got a lot out of that hop that you did use, or maybe it was fresh and had a little crop variation or something that just made it stand out a little bit different way than some of those classic hops tend to do. But it had kind of a more modern presentation. The fermentation seemed fairly clean, and it did. I did get a bit of a kind of a vinous character and a touch of obvious alcohol, but not really hot. But yeah, the hops kind of linger in the aftertaste with the caramelly malt, and it finishes. It's got kind of an odd finish because it finishes kind of sweet with the malts, but it's also kind of dry in the late palate, the way it dries off your tongue. So it's kind of a little contradictory there, but I think that could be just the malts playing off the dryness of it. I don't know what it finished at, but 10-10-ish or 10-12, I don't know, or 10-08, I don't know. If you know where it finished, but yeah.
I would have had my sheet, but
yeah, okay, that would be helpful.
It was in typical.
No,
it was
yeah. I'm exactly like that too.
Yeah, where are they?
He gave them to you.
No, he didn't. I swear to God, you didn't.
They're sitting on the bar.
Are they right there on the thing? Go grab them.
Are they out there?
Go grab them.
Maybe.
I think we gave them to you, man.
I know you do.
Okay.
I think
well, I do the same thing. I brew a beer, and then if I write down my notes, and then I just forget everything. It's like, what'd you put in that beer?
I should be a little more prepared for this. You'd think.
Let me consult my notes. Yeah.
What do you think the starting gravity on this beer was?
Man,
was it much higher than 1050?
No. I've actually been hitting like the normal, like on the kit. They tell you what you're supposed to be hitting. I've been within a point or two of that.
Okay, great.
So there hasn't been anything odd happening in terms of the gravities. I haven't had to add water. You know what I mean? I haven't had to adjust it all in order to hit the range.
I mean, the alcohol, it's not that big a deal. It's there, but it's a pretty minor thing. The ester is a little high, but that's not not a huge thing.
I have a question for you guys. So you guys talk about the caramel flavor.
The caramel's the big thing here.
Okay, and then you talk about the diacetyl. That's not the same thing, huh?
No. Caramel is a malt flavor, and diacetyl is a byproduct of fermentation. And usually it starts out if you ferment you start fermenting it, it's created early on in the fermentation. And then what you want to do is generally kind of gradually raise up your fermentation temp, or let it stay steady instead of falling off. So if you have your beer in a fermentation chamber that's just set at 62, and it doesn't, if it's just measuring the ambient air temperature, I've found that the early fermentation, the actual inside temperature of your ferment is going to go up to 68, 70, and then as it slows down and that exothermic reaction stops going so strongly, then the beer cools down.
That's the first time I've heard it described like that.
Yeah. So you want to keep the temperatures inside the beer steady, and you can use a thermowell to get there with a probe that goes down in there, controlling your temperature, or you can just do like I do and kind of fiddle with the knobs and watch it. Keep a strip with the temperature reading on your fermenter, and it's like, oh, it's slowing down. I'm going to turn it up 2 degrees today, and then the next day another degree, and just keep it balancing so that it's kind of staying steady and maybe rising up slightly at the end to kind of clean up that diacetyl that's in there. So that's one thing that you can do. But
to me, when let's see, the caramel or diacetyl, to me they seem very similar when I've been told to taste them.
Well, they play off each other as kind of a butterscotchy flavor in this beer because the malt is playing off of that buttery flavor. Well, it also could be like a kettle caramelization flavor. And I'm wondering how hard you drive your boil.
To me, it tastes like there's a little bit of burning.
I had somebody tell me, and I won't tell who told me to solve this. As I need today, to quote Steve, you need to achieve a vigorous boil. JP,
I would say make sure you have a rolling boil.
Rolling boil. Maybe I got the quote wrong.
Maybe.
So I have boiled the crap out of these beers.
Well, here's the thing, and I think what Brian's driving at, because I can get kind of like a scorching thing.
Yeah.
Do you turn the heat off when you add your extract?
Yeah, I have made that mistake in the past. I don't think this is. I didn't on this one. I do. Yes.
And then before you turn it back on, you make sure you scrape the bottom and all that kind of shit. Okay, well then you're doing it great.
Yeah. But if you do drive it really hard, and it can have that kind of like the Scottish ales that are boiled for a long time. They get that kind of butterscotchy kind of flavor from just the kettle caramelization, and you can mistake that for diacetyl. So, and it could just be that's giving you that impression.
Because they both
and
give
it will
a
also darken the beer. And
what you're telling me is, about 3 batches ago, I asked JP about a problem. He told me boil it more.
Yeah.
And now my beers are coming.
First of all, I would never use that example as a reason. Like
I wasn't there, Steve. I can't.
Now my beers are too dark, which I said these are supposed to be lighter. My beers are too dark, and I'm getting the same flavor over and over again.
So how hard are you boiling these now?
Well, I don't. Well, I bought. Okay, so here it is. The truth will come out. So I did buy. So prior to this, I was using an actual turkey fryer burner, right? Yeah. So I don't remember what that was. What is that? 60,000 BTUs or something like that.
Sure.
So then I went over to Todd's house, and he's got this crazy burner that does whatever.
All the angle things coming out.
400,000 BTUs. Burn your face off.
Also a large.
I know. But so I bought sort of the intermediate one. I can't remember exactly, but it's 160 BTUs. So my boil is much more vigorous.
Well, and it should be. I mean, it should be like a rolling boil. It shouldn't just be like. Like you're making spaghetti or something.
Not supposed to be a Viagra commercial.
Well, no. It's not like coming out of the kettle or anything of that kind. But it's interesting because all the things you just described, that happened about the time I got the new burner. So,
and if you've ever listened to this show before, you know that we often repeat, never ever listen to what JP tells you.
Right.
Never.
I say just give up and just buy beer.
What's your?
That's what I've been doing.
Hey, accept your punishment. Go drink some JP's beer.
How did I do brewing this beer? Oh, what is it? It's a Stone Pale Ale. Love it. It's great. You did great. Perfect. 100%. 50 out of 50.
All right, but I think I just got my money's worth here. Actually,
what about the kettle you're using?
Seriously,
is the kettle a real thick triclad bottom, or do you have a lighter bottom kettle? Or
I don't remember. Todd was. You know what? I was a real novice.
He's got a
when I
good
bought it.
kettle.
It's a good
Yeah.
kettle.
Yeah, he's got a triclad.
You do want to have a
bottom,
good solid triclad bottom, and that'll help evenly disperse the heat. But if you're driving it too hard, I like to drive my boils harder too, and you got to kind of balance it out because you'll lose a lot to evaporation. You have to start with a really high volume too, and you do get a little more color if you're trying to brew something lighter. It's hard to achieve the right color, so. I like to drive the boil a little harder, but for certain beers, like the lighter ones, like this, you're not going to want to drive it that hard, and you're basically caramelizing the sugars inside the kettle, and it's a chemical reaction. It's just naturally going to happen when you push the heat up that high.
Well, I commented to Todd a little while ago. I said, "Man, these beers are turning out really dark." So,
yeah. Try the same recipe, or and just make sure the boil is turning over, and get it. Don't have a little wimpy little blip 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 blip.
You guys weren't that mean, and you're actually helpful. So there you go. This is a good show.
I gave the beer a 30.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. I gave
thought
it a 31.
it's a pleasant drinking. It seemed a little strong to me, but for kind of IPA like hops in with this reddish malty.
Did you say I gave it a 30 as if it was like a good score?
Yeah,
it is technically. If you look at
this is not a bad beer.
If you look at the sheet,
really?
30 is in very good character.
Actually, 30 is the low end of very good.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy smokes! I'm renewed. You guys have given me hope.
If you had walked in and said this is an amber ale, I would have scored this several points higher.
Yeah, well, I don't really like amber ales, so that would have depressed me.
Yeah,
which is why you don't like drinking his beer.
But that's what it came across as.
Steve, every beer you brew is an awesome amber ale.
Shit, even the stouts.
My least
favorite the stouts. Yeah.
No, it just needs a little improvement here and there, and it sounds like you're doing a lot of things right. Keeping the ferment, do play with that, the fermentation temperature profile, and get a brew bug maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Why not?
No, thank you.
Are they a sponsor?
No.
Have you used one of those?
Yeah.
They're pretty cool.
I like it. I used it a couple times in a couple batches. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I could sit on my fat ass and watch. Basically, that combined with the Pico Brew, I never have to get off the couch to look at my beer or do anything with it.
You don't even have to drink it.
I don't.
Does anybody have a weird question? Does anybody have a product that's like the beer bug or whatever you guys are talking about that actually feeds into the temperature control in the refrigerator?
Someone
like an automatic control.
Someone that will remain nameless is working on something like that for the near future that will be out in the things in the world.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you can buy a 1 or 2 channel temperature controller, from a lot of different places, and you can. If you get a thermal well and put the probe inside that, it'll be right in the beer, and it will measure that, and you can use that to control the temperature.
Yeah, I've got a. Sorry, can we mention brand names or whatever?
Of course.
I've got a Johnson controller for the
control. Your beer, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that'll work.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any other questions for the guys? Anything?
No, I think that's great advice. That's cool. I was nervous, and now I'm like, I haven't brewed in a while because I've just been busy, and the beer hasn't been turning out good. Now I'm excited to go back.
That's enjoyable beer. It's pretty clean. It's just, it wasn't what I expected. This is a pale ale. Oh, okay. But you taste it. It tastes pretty good. There's only minor things. I thought, maybe there's a tiny little bit of a green apple-y thing into a little acetaldehyde, but it came out later. But yeah, it's not, I don't know. It's not funky or off or anything. It's just like the hop character was nice. The malt
it's a good.
high.
It's if you drank this and you would think, a beginner home brewer made this.
You try this here. Try this homebrew, and it's like, don't mention style. Just like, as soon as you mention American Pale Ale, there's all these preconceived notions. It's homebrew. Here, drink this. And
right.
Your brother likes it, right?
No, he doesn't like it.
Oh, okay.
But he drinks it.
He drinks
your brother.
it.
That's
He drinks
family
it 'cause he's
right
my
there,
brother.
man.
It's free, which makes it taste really good.
I actually blocked the door, and I'm like, you got to drink the beer, dude.
There you go.
You did fine, Steve.
Thanks.
Hopefully this shined some light. Shoned some
does.
light.
It's shown a bright light on not listening to JP.
Has shined upon thee.
Just shine on JP. That's right.
Please do.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's take a break. Should we take another break and then do this triangle test, or not
Let's
triangle test?
take
but
another break.
why
break.
not? We only have 2, so why not? Let's do it. All right,
Well, we could take it later.
whatever.
We'll take it now.
I already mentioned it. I already teased it. We're gonna take a break. We're gonna come back. We're gonna do the ABC Bud Miller Coors. What is it called again, Brian?
ABC. It's this is the standard American lager. Smackdown.
Dr. Home, everyone. Back after this.
Do know the three most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star San, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states. Plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small. Single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy f***ing shit.
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business.
Admit it. Homebrewing is not always free of frustrations. Years ago, brothers Bill and Jim Mitchell decided to minimize those frustrations and create an entirely new brewing process and a brand new kitchen appliance, the Pico Brew Zymatic. The Zymatic sits on your kitchen counter and connects to the internet via Wi-Fi. It comes with access to a huge recipe library full of award-winning beers and can brew your next batch at the push of a button. Improve repeatability and refine your recipes with the Pico Brew Zymatic. With minimal cleaning and hassle, the Zymatic enables anyone to brew craft beer in the comfort of their own kitchen. Just add your ingredients and the process of homebrewing becomes simplified and automatic, allowing you to focus on what really matters while you brew. At Pico Brew, they believe everyone should be able to enjoy the art of homebrewing and make their own damn good craft beer. See the Zymatic in action today at picobrew.com.
A few things happened 30 years ago.
ARPANET migrated to TCP/IP, and the Internet was born. Revenge of the Jedi was renamed Return of the Jedi and opened in theaters. Mila Kunis and Emily Blunt were born, beginning a rad fantasy in my mind.
But all of that pales next to the fact that HopTech opened its doors and began blowing homebrewers right out of their mash tuns. HopTech doesn't fuck around. Real people shipping awesome shit straight to you. Their new website is fast and easy to navigate. Or just call 800-379-4677 and let badass bitch Jade and the gadget guy Roberto blow their warm load of customer service all over you. So visit the site or visit the store in Dublin, California, and support those that support you. Get your brewing on at hoptech.com.
I'm sorry to tell you this, but we're going to have to pour you out.
Back to Dr. Homebrew.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I just want to point out that after all of the don't listen to JP, he doesn't know what he's talking about. All the hate, the racial hate. Where was your recipe, Steve?
JP, can you get some more Miller Lite?
In your back pocket.
Hey, that is not true.
In my back pocket.
Yeah, well, that's where I told you it was.
Yeah, that's true.
So real quick, run through your recipe if you wouldn't mind, please.
Okay, Todd is going to read this for me.
He forgot his glasses, so I'm going to help.
Right.
Okay.
So this is a pale ale, Sierra Nevada clone, actually. So 81% is a light malt extract, 6.3%, 60 L crystal, 6.3%, 120 crystal, 6.3% carapils.
Yeah,
malt.
I think that crystal, all that crystal's telling us where this beer came from.
Yeah.
That's what's driving this caramel.
It's an amber recipe.
It's a lot of crystal, and it's the 120 is really dark crystal.
Yeah, super dark.
Yeah. So if you want to make this more like Sierra, I think our conclusion when we were talking to the break was just ditch the 120.
So do you think I'm overboiling?
Given possible. The gravity came in kind of high. Do you have any idea how much volume you boiled away?
Let's see. I start with. I'm trying to remember. I think I have a 7-gallon kettle, right? And I think I start with 6 gallons. Work hard to make sure I don't get an overboil, and sometimes I end up with 5. Usually it's 4.5.
That's not too bad.
4.5.
That's not bad.
I mean,
that's a fair amount, but yeah. That might bring it up past a bit, but yeah.
Yeah, but usually if it's 5, you're starting with about 6. The key in replicating your own things is knowing exactly. So, like, I know on my system... No, I'm being serious.
I know.
Like, on my system, I know I start with 12.5 gallons of water, and I end with 10.5 in the kettle. And then that's just how you're able to... So on your next batch, you make sure that all that kind of stuff is accurate, and then you can start tracing where you're going wrong. And I know you know that, but, you know.
Yeah. Also, with an...
I don't know.
With an extract beer, the intensity of the boil is not as critical. There's not going to be as much of the DMS precursor in that malt. I mean, as opposed to if you're making a German Pilsner and you've got, almost 100% Pils malt in there and it's just, got so much DMS precursor that it's going to be a big problem if you don't boil it for 90 minutes fairly heavily. So, it's, with extract, a lot of that work's already kind of been done for you and you have to boil it and, basically sterilize the wort, but, it's not as much for the driving out the DMS precursor. Fine point, I guess. But
got that?
Helpful, yeah.
Huh?
Yep.
So if you do this again, then do it without that 120, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So
Try
don't
the
go in
recipe.
and go, hey, give me this recipe, but write it all down, and then leave that. And also, if you use extract, it's kind of darker. Also, it's like a 6 SRM.
Yeah.
Which is
even the beers that have turned out good, the color has been too dark for me.
It's going to be because they just in the extraction process when they pull out all the water, right? It's like 80% water loss. It darkens the malt a little.
They're heating it for hours to do that. So.
Yeah. You mentioned that beer also finished at like 10:15. I found when I did extract for about the first 6 months of my brewing, I found that I was like getting finishing numbers like with a pale ale finishing at 10:15, 10:18, being a little too sweet, and then when I switched to all grain and just did the regular kind of mash temperatures that you're supposed to do for certain recipes, I got more predictable finishing gravities and they were lower. Like for some reason, with me at least, extract gave me higher finishing gravities.
Yeah,
and there's just a pattern with that.
That happens.
So it's probably the same.
There's
same
more
things. You're
unfermentable
sugar
stuff in there. Yeah.
You could always add like 0.5% or something, just some table sugar to that to try and cut the final gravity down a bit if it bothers you. But get rid of the crystal malt, that 120.
Or you could do a big mini mash with like 3 or 4 pounds of grain in your water, and then. Let it sit at 145 for 30 minutes to kind of put less more fermentable stuff in there to kind of counteract that. If you like, continuing to brew extract, and that's not that hard to put a big bag of grain in there and then use a little less extract and kind of balance that out. And it tastes maybe a little more like an all grain beer then too. If you don't want to go all the way all grain, that's kind of a good approach to do.
All right.
Okay. Cool. Well, thanks for. I'm glad you found that.
Thanks for sharing it, yeah.
Again, what are we doing? The what is it again?
Standard American Lager Smackdown!
Jesus, I thought there was an earthquake going on.
We almost lost all of our beer.
That's our sound effect. Yeah.
We have 3 beers in front of us, A, B, and C, and one is Bud, like standard Bud, one is standard Miller, and one is standard Coors, right?
That's correct.
And we're supposed
Budweiser,
to pick
Miller,
out
Miller
which
High
one is
Life.
which.
I don't know that we need. We will
Banquet.
try, but that's not necessarily the goal of this.
Bev, are you playing along with us? Are you playing at home?
Definitely not.
Okay.
But I do know the answers.
Weird.
I went to Chico State, so I'm going to be a little sad if I can't find the Coors.
She was kind enough to pour these and label them for us.
So that was like a million years ago.
We're tasting them blindly. Yeah.
They're nice and room temperature for you guys.
Oh, that makes it so much
They really
better.
are. He brought them out like 20 minutes ago. I'm like, what is she doing?
Yeah.
I didn't bring them out at all. They were handed to me and I was asked to pour them. I'm just following instructions.
And then you brought them out.
Right.
I wasn't
that
lying.
was the second round.
Take it outside,
the one right
kids.
Now.
Yeah.
Right.
The first round was cold. That the actual judgers got.
Judgers. Perfect.
I'll take it. We're judgers.
I love you, Bev.
Better a judger than a hater.
A lot of judgment happening right now.
What are you watching in there on Netflix?
I'm not watching anything.
Doc Martin or Broadchurch or what?
No, I'm not watching anything.
All right. Okay, so what are we doing?
I'd have earbuds in if I was.
We're tasting standard American lagers. The big three.
I don't know that I've had a Budweiser in like 15 years.
And you still don't know which one. Can you tell us which one it is?
I don't know. I don't think I can. I mean, hopefully by process of elimination.
Right.
I've had Bud Light because we like to dose it and abuse it for our beer judging 101 class that we do. That's a lot of fun.
So other than figuring out which is which, what are we trying to do here, Brian?
Well, we're trying to give it a general overview of the standard American lager style, so people know what to expect for that style and what makes a classic example of that.
Are these all three classic
These
examples?
are all three classic examples in the BJCP style guidelines. It's category 2B. I'm sorry, 1B. Yeah. And, yeah.
They're actually
1B.
all three pretty different.
And pretty similar.
Yes.
And pretty similar, but their similarities are
different.
Different. Right.
Right.
There's some contrast going on here, yeah.
Actually, to me, B and C kind of taste the same. A, whatever that is a little more creamier. And I don't know if it's a variant on where how old the bottle is or whatever, but it's
they're all approximately the same age. They're all not expired.
They were bought this afternoon.
Check the born on dates.
I'm sure they were brewed 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So what are we supposed to be tasting? What's the common thread? It would be malt character, right?
It's a light, grainy, crisp, and refreshing beer. Good for drinking in the summer on a hot day. It doesn't have a lot of hops. Doesn't have a lot of aroma at all. Some of them have a little kind of a green appley DMS aroma in them, which can come from the beechwood aging that's used in certain ones that drops the yeast out a little prematurely. Some of them can have a little DMS, kind of corn-like. All of these beers use about 30% adjuncts in them, so they're using a base malt, and in addition to that, and it kind of developed as an American thing. We have corn around us. We have rice and things around us. It's
cheaper.
We can make this beer and we can make it more cheaply, and we can supplement what we have, and it also dries out the finish of the beer. So you drink it and it just floats off your tongue and it's gone and it's light and it's refreshing and it's crisp.
And that's the point.
That's the point of the beer.
Kind of the point. It's cheap, it's refreshing, and it doesn't last.
Right.
It's not a super challenging beer. It's just
it's not beer to fuss over.
But
or to dissect.
See, now Bev is slamming a 24-ounce tall boy, of course. Just pounding it. Popped a hole in it and going.
Thought I'd try it.
Yeah.
Sadly, the mountains are not blue.
Shit.
Oh, no.
That sucks. They look blue to me, but you're cold. What? Okay, go ahead.
The other thing about these beers is, they're very light in color, but...
okay. I had a high
you
five.
guys are distracting.
Yeah, sorry.
With all your fighting. Where was I going with this?
I don't know.
Lee, say something about standard American lagers, please.
Well, I don't drink them very often. Light crisp, not a lot of hop flavor aroma. Pretty subtle with that. They're a little bit in the sweet side usually, just basic Pils malt and not a lot of it. It is a lager, so it should be pretty free of most fermentation character, although, as Brian said, you might pick up a little acetaldehyde. And some of these will have a little bit of fruitiness to them. Should be a really light body, crisp, fairly high moderate to high carbonation, sometimes a little bit stinging in the carbonation, although, as JP pointed out, these have been sitting here for a while, so they're not that high carbonated anymore.
They're definitely a lot more warm.
They've gotten a little bit flat.
The manufacturer wants you to drink them.
Now you can really taste what's in them, right or wrong.
Yeah.
And they should finish very cleanly. No, there's not a lot of lingering flavor here. It's not going to leave your mouth coated with roast malt or pungent hops or anything like that. It's just it's supposed to go away when you're done drinking it.
I think this is, by by accident turning into a what to expect from drinking a Bud Miller or Coors.
Right. We haven't actually talked a lot about what we've found in these beers.
Right. Well, I think because a lot of people who are drinking homebrew and craft beer, you kind of expect these flavors by default, but these they're not there. They don't exist. The citrusy, piney, BS that we drink in IPAs and stuff like that. It's not there, and that's that's the point. And I think a lot of people focus on that as a flaw. These beers don't have that, and therefore they are inferior. But this is the style, and I think that's why we pick these beers, or at least Brian picked these beers, because they are literal classic examples of the
these
style.
styles, yeah. And they're not about intense flavors. I mean, and actually, there is a home brewer, if you've ever tried to make one, it's really hard to make a good one.
Tough.
Because this is the classic nowhere to hide scenario. You can't make a flaw and not have it be glaring here.
Right.
You pretty much have to do it perfectly.
You have to know what you're doing.
You have to know what you're doing. You have to get it right. I mean, and it does happen, actually. I had one of the highest scores I ever gave in a competition was to one of these.
Well, Annie
Somebody
Johnson
made a killer classic American lager.
Annie Johnson won a gold, I think, at NHC with a classic American lager.
Yeah, she did. Homebrew of the year.
Yeah, 2013, I think.
Yeah, so you have to make it's hard. It's hard to do because you have to have your system perfect. You have to have your fermentation under just total control.
Yeah.
And know the yeast.
Hey, it's a lager. I mean, that's a whole nother skill set. Yeah. And in the style guidelines it says strong flavors are a fault.
Yes.
Anything strong flavored, that's bad.
And I challenge any homebrewer to make these, not as like, you can't do it, but that's a test of your brewing mettle, I think, is if you just try it. I can't do it. I can't make pale, hoppy beers. They turn up cloudy and not hoppy, and I don't know why. It's probably my water because I don't give a shit. But
you could put smoke malt in them.
Well, these are all filtered.
Now you're making me thirsty, dude.
Yeah. That's the other thing about them, too, is once these beers hit the shelf, they can only go downhill from there. They control the oxygen levels in the finished beer, like, less than 3 parts per billion or some crazy low level, just to make sure that as they age, they're not going to get papery as quickly, but eventually they're going to get more kind of honey-like papery if they sit on a shelf past that enjoy by date or the 110 days past the born on date, whatever the case may be. It's going to start to get a little more stale flavors to it.
Yeah.
Did you get that?
There's no yeast in there to clean up, and I didn't really get any in any of these.
I got in B. I got getting a little banana bread.
Banana bread.
Are you guys getting that?
Banana bread.
I'm easily influenced. You said that, and I'm all
see, that's the problem.
The
so whenever
suggestion.
you're tasting beer with someone, you never tell them what they're drinking.
Drink
you
this
ask
beer.
them, right?
Yeah, I can
what
see
are you
that.
getting?
Drink this and imagine banana bread.
In C, what are you getting, Steve? Steven.
Boy, I don't know. I'm out of my pay grade here.
Nope. Whatever you say is not wrong.
Drink
It's
number
what
A.
you are tasting.
And imagine hot chili peppers.
You're wrong.
I don't know. I think I'm. What are my 3 choices? I think I'm just getting Miller. Or whatever.
These beers taste Millerish.
Perfect.
That's a perfectly allowable description.
Do you want to do the reveal, or we?
Let's talk a little bit about the individual characters, and Lee and I will kind of cover these quickly. But
we did take some notes.
I thought that beer A had kind of a sharper cidery aroma, had a little bit of a green apple acetaldehyde note in the nose, no diacetyl. It was grainy as expected. Brilliant. They're all brilliant medium straw, so I won't even talk about the color on the rest of them. Although the first couple, right now, A has just no head. B and C have a little bit of head. The first time around, C had a little more head than the others, so it seemed like C had the best head retention of all of them. They're all dry in the flavor, fairly crisp malt, different levels of kind of crisp sharpness. I thought that the second one was a little crisper and sharper. The third one was a little more watery. The C was a little more watery and a bit smoother, and a little bit less of that sharpness there. And it had a little bit of kind of a corn-like thing in C. There was a very light corn in B also in the flavor, but a little more in the aroma. B had a little more corn-like in the aroma. So, again, the adjuncts can come through in different ways. Rice is usually pretty neutral and just dries out the beer and is just an additional source for fermentables. Doesn't really impart a lot of flavor. The corn adjunct when that is used, and generally Miller is the one that uses the corn, will drive a little bit more of those kind of DMS corn-like flavors. It's not going to be heavy, but it gives a slightly different flavor to the beer. So,
okay.
Yeah, mouthfeel-wise, the first one was A is fairly spritzy. B is also a bit spritzy. They all have kind of a bit of a carbonic bite to them. C was fairly spritzy with a pretty big carbonic bite. And overall, I thought A, it was a bit biting. The carbonation seemed pretty high, and it's just kind of a spritzy, biting, kind of sharp, fairly neutral beer with a little bit of green apple in it. B was, again, had a little bit of that corn in the aroma, less in the flavor, also a little bit biting, but it was also fairly crisp and refreshing to me, and I liked that about it. C had a smooth corn-like character, was not overpowering, and to me it seemed like the cleanest beer of the three, but Lee might disagree with me on that. But I rated them, I rated C the highest at 38, B second highest at 35, and A 33.
In the category that they defined.
So, yeah.
Essentially.
Well,
which is fun.
But, I mean, you can get a little bit of bottled variation, too, with age and whatever. So,
Lee, real
could
quick,
just be condition.
Real quick, do you have any rebuttals or anything to add to that?
No, not really. I mean, A, I thought a little bit of sulfite and acetaldehyde. B had sort of a candy corn aroma in the nose to me, and very low. I mean, it's very hard to get. And a little bit of some spicy floral hop flavor, but not much. Maybe a little bit of corn in the flavor. I'm not sure. And C, I thought might have been a touch oxidized. I'm not sure what it is with C. There's something in C I really don't like. It's maybe a little oxidized, maybe a little rubbery or vegetal or something. There's just something vaguely unpleasant in C. And it also seemed to be the wateriest of them, the lowest.
I agree with that
watery flavor sort of to it. So
I thought A was the wateriest.
There you go.
Yeah,
you're free to be wrong, and you're libertarian freedom here.
Thank you. Free will.
They're generally watery.
What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I'm impressed by just the way you guys are describing, because you're saying all these things. I'm like, yeah, that's it. I don't know. I can't put it into words, but definitely B and C, the corn is much stronger in those two. That's what's setting A apart.
For sure.
Yeah.
So
let's
really
find
cool
out what they are.
The differences are very subtle.
Bev, you want to tell us what they are?
Yeah, well, and before people listen farther, if they want to do a true test, they can have somebody listen to the end of the show and then pour A, B, and C, and then stop the tape right here. Stop the tape, rewind, and retaste everything, and then you'll kind of calibrate with us maybe. But
you'll know to stop when you hear the chimes
after
ring
the
like
reveal.
this.
Oh, there's chimes?
Okay,
do we want to say our votes first? Or do we care?
We don't care. Let's just.
Yes, we do.
Well,
sure we do.
No, we care.
We don't care.
Brian?
Yes, we care.
I thought that
fine.
I thought A might have been. I thought A was pretty certainly the Bud. I thought that B was the Coors and C was the Miller. That was my guess.
I thought A was Bud, B was Miller, and C was Coors.
That's
and
what
so
I
did
got
JP.
to.
Yeah.
But I don't drink these beers all the time either.
Yeah.
So
Todd,
I'm in the same boat.
Steven?
Oh, I don't know. I think I've been drinking too much Coors Light, because I thought A was Coors, but anyway.
I think it's the light that's throwing you.
And C was Miller's. That's what I'm saying. Like, I haven't had an actual Coors in a long time. So
then by default, B is Bud for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Beverly?
Well, one of you got that correct.
No.
And that would be you.
All right, Steve.
Did I tell you where I went to school? I told you.
Steve had it.
Experience counts.
So specifically the one that tasted Millery, that was Miller.
Oh, yeah. I've had some bad reactions to that.
So
we are also in that boat together.
So A was Coors, B was Miller,
was
and
Coors.
C was Bud.
No. A was... No.
Oh, well, then it's wrong. Then I
you said
wasn't
Miller
right.
was C, I thought.
Yeah, I definitely said Miller was
Yeah.
C.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
I
A was Coors, B was Bud,
Yeah,
C was
I
Miller.
got it right.
Dude, B is Budweiser?
B is Bud.
Wow.
Budweiser.
I actually kind of liked it, but I did like C best, which was, again, C was what again?
Ew.
C was
Miller
the Miller.
High Life.
You like
Miller.
Oh,
Not
no.
going to lie.
No.
It was my favorite.
I guess that one,
They're
right?
not a sponsor, are they?
No, they're not. Are
Okay,
you kidding
good.
me? Woo, Miller.
I didn't realize so much
They
apple.
wouldn't give us a pumpkin.
Of the three, though, I did definitely think that C was the most corn-like of them. So, I mean, the B had a little bit of corn-like to me, and I
liked it.
Can just come from fermentation as well. You can get a little bit of that DMS in there along with the acetaldehyde that it kicks off. But yeah,
A had a ton of that appley.
Yeah.
noted.
Yep.
It was,
and they, maybe they similarly kind of, I don't know if they drop out their yeast
Which
in
was
another
Coors?
way. I know Bud uses
of course.
the beechwood aging to drop out their yeast. Maybe Coors does something different, but
it's the banquet beer, man.
banquet
It
beer.
is the banquet.
Well,
I'm not having a banquet with it, which is why I didn't.
Need some
And
apples.
that's funny because
Apples in your
I would
banquet.
think too
Can
that
you order us a banquet? I'm kind of hungry.
of the three,
After
like
this, we need it.
if I were
Yeah.
forced to order one, I would probably order a Coors banquet beer, and I rated it the lowest. So that's kind of weird. I enjoyed
You
the
hate
Miller
your
the most.
palate.
Well, if it's the way I made my decision is that Coors is basically what you can drink the most of because it has less flavor profile.
Right.
I mean, really,
Yeah.
like Bud. I can't drink a ton of Budweiser because it's too rich.
It's too heavy
actually.
for you?
Yeah, actually.
It's
Well,
like
I mean-
Bud, Guinness.
Well, we're talking. You got to put this all in context. So, we're talking half a keg or whatever.
Yeah. Did everybody get one right? Or?
Oh, I feel like I wish I knew Steve
Yeah.
in college, but then I feel like I wish I didn't know Steve in college.
Trust me,
It would have been your best and worst friend.
better now.
It's all the
A lot
stories.
better
It's all the
now.
stories after the keg that you don't want to know about.
Yeah, Todd's really quiet
So I
for
took
a
apart this
reason.
guy's Volkswagen with my hands.
We've all been involved with things like kilted keg stands and beer bongs and whatnot.
All of us. Okay, let's wrap it up real quick. This is normally in the part in the program where we would give away the Grog Tag $40 At Least Your Beer Will Look Good gift certificate to the brewer with the lowest score.
Who authorized that?
But that is Steve, and since Steve
Nice.
doesn't necessarily need anything from his own business,
Anheuser-Busch, and they need a coupon.
yeah, at least you're. Bev, pick someone in the chat, and they're going to get this thing.
Okay,
Boom.
chat room. I'm thinking of a number.
Oh, guess Beverly's
Between
number.
1 and 2? What?
Between
Yeah,
one
you gotta
and,
give him a
I guess
parameter.
between 1 and 750. Between 1 and
Infinity.
20.
1 and 20. All right. So chat room, guess Bev's number 1 and 20, and then we also, conversely, for the best scoring beer, we give a nice price pack from HighGravityBrew.com. You go to High Gravity Brew. They're a great homebrew supply shop. They have a bunch of equipment, all that kind of stuff, and they are so gracious to give us a little something to give away. So, Bev, pick 2 people, and they're going to win for our winners. Yeah, it's not really hard. You just pick another person. Well, you don't have to do it right now.
Okay, and I just wanted to mention too while we're doing this of the scores. Lee and I averaged our scores. So the Coors we gave an average score of 35.5. The B, the Bud, we gave an average score of 37.5. And the Miller, the C beer, we gave a 36.5. So
you guys
average,
like Budweiser the best.
Yeah.
If you average out
There
our
you
palates,
go.
then Bud
The
is
king is one.
Bud is the lowest common denominator of those. Yeah, those.
We're going to get that price pack from High Gravity and just take it up to Fairfield and just deliver it to them.
Just hand it to them. Here,
That
you
is-
guys, well, you won this.
That's an amazing brewery up there. I mean,
You could clean out one corner of a fermenter with this.
Right.
they brew a lot of really clean beer and they distribute it far and wide, and they keep it fresh.
They do a good job doing it, too.
It flows
I
through
don't
our
know, man.
nation like blood through our veins.
It's American.
Yeah. Interesting. This is an interesting test, Brian. Thanks for grabbing these things.
Oh, you're welcome, JP.
So, Todd and Steve, before we take off, tell me about the National Homebrew Label Awards, please.
Go, Todd, go.
We're actually really excited about this program. I mean, it's part of what evolved from Grog Tag was being homebrewers and trying to create labels and something to make it like it's a brand, right? It's not just your fluid in a bottle. You're creating something that's unique to yourself, and you want to put a label on it. And that's a metaphor for whatever you want to put on it. You can put a piece of gum on it for all I care.
And that's a label. If it reflects what's inside or what you think is inside, doesn't matter. That's what it is.
Like we're calling Grog like this competition. It's the Homebrew Label Awards. So it is the most creative competition that's in the homebrew environment that's out there. And we've sponsored some label programs, like label competitions throughout the years as we've gotten started. We just figured there's something that we could do to really accelerate this and really appreciate the people and our homebrew friends and community that actually make Grog Tag special to us. Like when the labels we see in JP, you can sort of attest to this, is the one who, populates the label of the day and our galleries and stuff. Like we see some really awesome stuff come through. So
that's some great. There's some really creative, funny people out there.
It's fun, and and a lot of this comes through our social media. So if you see it there, or you can come to the site and see it. But it's fun to see, and it just like recipes, like what we're doing here today, testing, tasting different things. Like we all have preferences, we all have opinions on it, but we just thought we could create a vehicle for people to express like their creativity in the homebrew environment outside of just making recipes.
Yeah.
So we're really excited about it. We've partnered up with Craft Beer and Brewing and More Beer, the BN. Thank you guys for being a sponsor and helping us get the word out. This is our inaugural event, as well as Blickman's on board, and Scott Electric Homebrewing is in on it too. So people are starting to get this awareness of what's going on, and it's really cool. Like, upload anything. It's not a grog tag thing. It's a creative thing.
Right.
We're trying to create we're trying to express and promote the creativity that is in homebrewing, not just in the recipe building and the building equipment. Like there, you see a lot of, that's what we mostly see, but there's another side of homebrewing that is really spectacular and awesome to sort of enjoy.
It's a second level of creativity.
Yeah.
You can have all that kind of stuff, but not everybody can design their own labels.
Correct.
So it's driven by Grog Tag. You guys came up with the thing, but it's a different entity, so you don't have to necessarily have made your label on Grog Tag.
Correct.
You could use anything, huh? I could tie-dye a rubber chicken and tape it to the side of the bottle.
Yeah,
that
whatever
would
you
be
want.
a legitimate entry.
Exactly.
Sure.
There's
Awesome.
no...
Where's that chicken?
This is like Grog Tag is a sponsor. We are not. This is not a Grog Tag thing. We wanted it to be a separate entity to let people express themselves in whatever level they wanted to do. I mean,
Well,
That's great.
The reality of it is we want to create the biggest label competition that happens every year with the best prizes, best judges.
And so the prizes, it's like over $2,500 in prizes.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have judges happening, and more importantly, like a People's Choice thing. So
Yeah,
you
one of
go
them's
to
a
the
fan
site.
base. You vote on the site.
Yeah.
Load your label. Tell your friends. Vote like crazy. One of the biggest prizes is the fan choice one. And I just, Todd's already said this, but it's just the creativity is really cool that people have, especially the more passionate they are about their horrible beers. Like the better the label. Seriously.
Have you entered your label yet?
I have not, but after today, it's no longer I'm sorry. It's I'm not that bad.
Right.
Get that chicken.
You're borderline very good.
I misunderstood. That's the new label.
I'm only slightly sorry, and I apologize that I listened to JP's advice.
That's right.
And my brother better drink my beer willingly now.
That's right. That's right. JP's
and
lament.
JP too.
Right. That's what it's called.
But that's the beauty of it. Like we're going to the NHC, and we're actually the National Homebrew Label Awards is actually going to have its own booth there at the expo. It's separate from Grog Tag, and Grog Tag actually has a new piece of equipment. We're printing 3D images on top of bottles and growlers, and that's something we're testing right now. It's really exciting. We're excited about it. But our plan is to have the 50 best label or image submissions printed on a bottle in 3D on display at the National Homebrew Conference in San Diego for people there, the 5,000 people that come to vote, outside of the website that we have lined up, which is the nationalhomebrewAwards.com.
That's going to be awesome.
Homebrew Awards. So we're really excited about like that, that opportunity to just put it out there in a bigger picture. So
Yeah, just a cool way for people to get recognition for their creativity and the labels. Some of the labels are really cool.
Yeah,
they are really, really cool.
Yeah,
I used to make labels for my home brews, the first many batches that I made, and it was just part of the expression. I had my own brand of beer, kind of, and I wanted to share it with my friends, and I bottled almost everything back then, so it was before I started kegging. But it was just like another creative outlet alongside of making the recipes, and it was just kind of part of what's bundled into. And I really like that part of the hobby myself, personally, and I'm pretty proud of some of the labels I made. But then I look at other labels that people make, and it's like, oh my God, how do they have the time to make it that perfect?
That's the hard part.
Great. Mine are a little homespun. Sometimes I made one called Ransom Note Red, where I cut little pieces of newspaper out and pasted it on a big sheet of paper. And we have your malt and hops, and we're not giving them back until you pay us X number of dollars.
We're going to steal that.
And that was my label.
That's the next thing. You're going to see that on the. We're not going to give you any guest artist commission at all.
That's okay. I give that idea up to the masses now. Yeah,
I think it's not that people in their homebrews and their labels. It's not that far removed from the big brewery. Well, quote big breweries that are craft breweries. Like like I look at, you guys are going up to Rogue, right?
Yeah.
And I look at Rogue River's labels, I still get the impression that they have as much fun doing those labels as the guy.
Sure.
So I really don't see a difference between what they're doing and what we see on the homebrew.
That's funny because I get that same sense from, but in the opposite way, from some breweries, and I can't think of one off the top of my head, but you look at a label and you're like, that can't be very fun to make. Mm-hmm. And part of owning a brewery is you're making this fun product that people have fun drinking, and it's an experience and it's an expression of you. And then you have a label that's just like your heart's not as into it as clearly is in your product. But homebrewers are very different.
Yeah. Well, I think they get caught in the brand. As branding becomes so important, and I don't know. I love Sierra Nevada. I love their beers. I really love them. I think they're caught up a little bit in like the branding. Their labels are a little too they don't have as much fun as I think they could have with their labels. They try with the illustrations in the middle.
They're very traditional looking.
Yeah. Then you have people like Clown Shoes, Undead Party Crasher smoked Imperial Stout. It looks like a freaking cartoon.
Right.
It's
that's right.
Wow.
It's fun.
That's cool, Like really, you have to make your beer stand out these days in order to even get noticed with some of the newer breweries, it seems like.
Yeah.
I still to this day when I go to like the local Nugget Market or whatever, and I look for the new beers, I look for the promise of the label. Like, what is it telling me? What does it want to...
That's how I buy my wine.
Yeah, so much of wine.
And sometimes it's counterindicative. It's like, oh, this is a great label, and the wine's horrible. You never know. I mean, it could be just like an excuse to sell it. Like, our marketing is really good, but our winemakers kind of sucks. But yeah, I mean, a lot of times you can have both. It's probably a crapshoot. I don't know. But,
that's what GrogTag is, a marketing genius for the average home brewer.
Yeah.
It's a vehicle. You can sell your beer to your brother, and he'll buy it.
Not your brother.
Right. Well, maybe. If I had a label on it, he might be fooled, man. Yeah.
Steve's Amber. Awesome
That's right.
Amber.
This is a new microbrew.
That's right. Dude, check it out.
I bought it down at the corner liquor store.
I wonder if anyone's tried to do that with GrogTag, like pass their homebrew off as a commercial beer just to mess with their friends.
I guarantee it.
It has to happen, right?
Yeah.
Guarantee it.
Yeah, I think we've seen some of those in the...
By the simple fact of, like, commercial breweries who have approached us on legality measures of, name recognition of, things that are sort of posted and uploaded in a homebrew environment. It's just, you can tell, like, people are out there trying to do.
Well, you can also do like reverse shoplifting and like bring your beer into a bev bar or something, and just like clear out if there's an empty rack, or like take a bunch of beers out, set them up there, and just like line your beer up there, like put a little tag.
We're
in
not
there,
encouraging anyone to do that.
Put some price tags on it.
But if you were to do that, then you could. Grog tags are removable, so you can.
If you film it and post it to the Facebook page,
and if you wanted to pull it off, definitely don't replicate the barcode.
We're not.
Because they would never know.
Right. Legal, yeah.
It would actually ring up as a Sierra Nevada at the front.
We wouldn't want to do anything that reflects badly on these guys here, but yeah.
We wouldn't want to.
I just think of creative stuff like that. I've got my own beer brand. I'm going to put it in the stores. I don't have distributing. Oh, who needs that? Just go straight to the store and put it in there.
Well, just distribute it.
See if they catch you.
Yeah, and you won't make any money on it, but it's not that. It's the point.
I sold my beer in a store.
So, National Homebrew Labels Awards, you go to homebrewlabelawards.com.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you have a label, upload it. And if you don't have a label, vote for someone else's label.
Yeah,
Share it.
check them
Pass
out.
it
I
around.
mean, it's really is just meant for a celebration of creativity. Have a good time.
Yeah.
There's no requirements. You just upload cool stuff, get some votes, win some stuff.
And we're going to air it out at NHC and have a booth and all that kind of stuff.
We sort of threw it out as like a $2,500 prize, and I'm not trying to stimulate it, but
yes, we are. What are you talking about?
But the reality is, like, the sponsors that are starting to come on board now that this is our inaugural event. Like, we've never done this, and we just launched a couple weeks ago, and we're getting a lot of inquiries now. Like, I think we're going to have a lot more prizes to give away and I want to elaborate a little bit. So we have a grand prize, a runner-up, and then we have a fan favorite. So your votes, are dependent on that fan favorite getting the win. And then we have a top 10 for honorable mention. So we have 13 total prizes coming out. So we hope that everyone puts in a vote and gets on. But we're going to have, I think, a lot more than $2,500 in prizes to give out, which is we're really proud of.
That's great.
We should probably also just mention that along with Grog Tag and the other sponsors throwing in craft beer and brewing has really, really thrown their weight behind it. They've been a great partner.
Yeah.
And just really appreciate it.
Awesome.
So
they're great folks over there.
Yeah, we're not sure where it ends up, but we're kind of hoping that we can even maybe the final ad. Who knows? It might appear in a magazine somewhere. Maybe. We'll see. I'm going to put some pressure on them.
Well, it seems to me like this is a natural addition to the NHC. I mean, this is something that somebody should have considered doing a long while ago, and you guys are doing it. So kudos. It seems natural to me. It's
the perfect result for Grog Tag would be a 0 score in the competition for the beer and winning the competition. Yeah. That'd be perfect.
Yeah, a 0.
I'm going to call my beer courtesy 13.
It's like an SAT, dude. You get like 15 points for putting your fucking name on
whatever,
the thing, right?
Whatever.
Yeah. Just entering, you're doing great.
That's not beer.
That's awesome.
Before we take off, I want to remind you guys about the AHA. You know the AHA. They're the American Homebrewers Association. They fight for your right to party in your garage, do whatever you want. You're not making meth, you're making beer. Who cares who knows it? So check them out, American Homebrew Association. Become a member. It's you get Zymergy, you get a bunch of cool stuff on their forum. It's the only way to enter the National Homebrewer Conference. So or National Homebrew Competition rather, at the National Homebrewers Conference. That's NHCs, man. Screw me up. Anyway, check them out. They've been a sponsor of the Brewing Network for a long time, and they're a lot of nice people, and they really do work really hard for you to make sure that the cops won't come and confiscate all your work chilling things.
So what about our 5-star chemicals package for the brewers that entered today? Are we going to send one to Bud, Miller, and Coors?
Yeah, maybe.
And Grog Tag guys?
Yeah, we'll send it to Steve. Yeah, he's a home brewer after all.
All right, so the Grog Tag crew is going to donate for whatever was entered to multiple. So for every beer entered, Coors, Bud, Miller, whatever Steve brought, the pale amber clone.
You got 10 seconds.
Yeah,
you got 10 seconds.
Anyways, yeah. No, we'll pony up and contribute with that. So
all right. You guys are very generous. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thank you so much for sponsoring us.
And thanks for listening, everyone. Yeah. Stay tuned. If you're live, we have another episode coming up. And if not, advance to the next one on the podcast. See you later.
See you next week. Yeah.